I think it's a very important question. As you know, the traditional way of looking at the state is to examine it as in three branches. For example, you have the legislative branch, the National Assembly, which is most important as far as I'm concerned. Then you have the executive branch, which is the government, and then you have the judicial branch, which is the judiciary. And the way we operate in Guyana is that the executive branch tries to dominate the other two branches, instead of working side by side to make sure that each one of the branches would function in an effective and efficient manner. We have one branch trying to dominate the other two. So, for example, because we know that the National Assembly is funded by taxation, because we know that the judiciary is funded by taxation, the executive, which controls the tax dollars, tries to exert its influence in an undemocratic manner. For example, many people are surprised to know that the Chancellor of the Judiciary, the highest judicial officer of this land, is still acting. The Chief Justice is still acting. And we have a system in which many of the judges, I am confident, want to perform in an objective, in an impartial and in a professional manner, in accordance with their training, in accordance with their conscience. But the conditions under which they are forced to work, the conditions are such that the government, which controls its purse strings, the government does not give them the resources to enable them to function efficiently. We need to make sure that our judges are properly paid, properly appointed, that they have sufficient staff, and they can conduct their judicial work, their professional work, in a manner which keeps them free from any sort of pressure from the executive branch. Similarly, our legislators need to be given the resources so that the National Assembly can function as an independent body from the executive. So when you speak about judiciary, I would like you to know that over the years, the United States and United Kingdom government have been helping this government, this PPP civic administration, in a justice improvement scheme. They've poured millions of dollars to help to improve justice in this country. But our government, the People's Progressive Party civic administration, has not been ensuring that the reforms have been effected. And as a result of that, we still have a judiciary in which we do not get the full benefit, not because of any weakness on the part of the judges, who are all honorable men and women, but because of the infrastructure support given to them by the executive branch, particularly by the government. You mentioned the Constitution. This is very important to the Partnership for National Unity. Many Guyanese citizens will be surprised to know that we have a Constitutional Reform Commission, but the People's Progressive Party civic administration has no interest in recalling and making sure that CRC, the Constitutional Reform Commission, works. It was never taken off the statute books. In fact, the reforms which were introduced in the late 1990s were never completed, were never fully put in force, put in effect. So we are aware of the need for constitutional change, for constitutional reform, and we can guarantee you, because it is written in all of the APNU's documents, that constitutional reform will be one of our top priorities, and we are concerned about your own interest in this matter. And once the APNU administration is installed, the Constitutional Reform Commission will be reconvened, and you will get an improved constitution. You watch that.
Okay, we just have about 5 more minutes left, so I'll try to take 2 very brief callers. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. The caller that talk about road building. If the caller paid attention, you would notice those same roads those be destroying quickly. So the money is being wasted in the direction. Apart from that, I have a couple of questions. What will be done with the copyright law? Will there be free education, and what is the reason for ASC not coming on board with the APNU? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before Mr. Granger responds, I'll take a final call. Good afternoon to you.
Mr. Granger, I know you were an MBA, but your party from 2003. I was the person dealing with national unity. What was happening at that time? was about some resistance and all kinds of things happening. This is 8 years late, or even 10 from 2001, because all the nonsense we went through the last 10 years could never have happened because of what we went through before that, and the hormones kind of caused CMA. So, really broke out a piece, and it was broke out for that 3-year period. Now, you are not going to take responsibility for what Mr. Hyde said at that time, because all the things have to do with what is being said. And this is what causes everything. Now, the parties are really responsible because they say what they like. They are not going to die because they are protected in that level of society. It's the ordinary people who end up dying, and the ordinary people who end up in problem with the police. African people should have never been in any war. Africans should have never been in any war with the police and the soldiers. My point is that no one from African people have taken responsibility for what African people were led into. They didn't go into this, not what some people wanted to do anything, because they were never near speaking if other people were speaking in their name. And no one takes responsibility in the African nation. And now we are at this stage now, 2011, where you now come in to go over a peace. But yet at the same time, the parties to join us with, WP and so, they are all attacking the government. So how can this peace become? How can it be? It's not.
We seem to have lost that caller. Mr. Granger, would you like to respond? We just have about 2 more minutes left.
Well, quickly, it's impossible to say why Mr. Kemraj Ramjatan of the Alliance for Change has continued to refuse to come on board to join the Partnership for National Unity. He seems to have a problem with the other members of the partnership, but I cannot say for sure why he's taking that position. Whenever he opens his mouth, it sounds as if he and Mr. Ramatar are singing the same song. So they speak about something that happened many years ago in the PNC. The PNC is just one of the partners, and we discuss all of the issues. So if Mr. Ramjatan was concerned about Guyana's future, if he was concerned about national unity, he would come aboard and discuss matters just like the WPA has discussed matters, just like the GAP has discussed matters, the NFA and the GAP and the other parties have discussed matters within the Partnership of National Unity. As far as the other question is concerned, I would just like to say that our partnership, the APNU, is committed to bringing together people of all ethnic groups. It will not be sudden and it will not happen in a short period of time. But this is a road that we must travel. And the partnership is being built not only on political parties, but on people of all ethnic groups throughout the country. So thank you very much for your questions. This has been a very interesting session, and I'll speak with you again next week, Friday. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Granger, as always. And viewers, thank you very much for tuning in. Unfortunately, we're out of time. As always, I encourage you to remember to be good Guyanese citizens. Take care of yourselves and each other. Until next time, I am Malika Ramsey. Goodbye.